So it is 217th day of Ukrainian fight. My name is Vasil Samokhvalov, and we're about to begin our next briefing. We will talk to Serhii Khlan, who is the advisor to the head of Kherson Oblast military administration. Mr. Serhii, hello to you. Hello to you too. Glory to Ukraine. Kherson region is Ukraine region. So, Mr. Serhii, these fake referendums that Russia conducted on occupied territories, especially in Kherson region. Can you please talk us about your impression regarding these in facts and numbers? Well, it is truly fake referendum that lasted 4 days from 23rd till 27th. Yesterday it ended. My opinion, and truth be told, I'm not impressed that results were already known even before the organizational process was launched, and they basically confirmed them. And even yesterday, those collaborants, they made it public, counted everything, and they already have numbers, and those numbers do not differ from what they told in so-called pooling of the population 2 weeks ago. That's why nothing to wonder. Basically, they got what they wanted. So all in all, this act was done quite in a theatrical way, and those collaborants basically made those theatrical background that were coming from one place to another one, and they were shooting the vote places on camera. And those people from Kherson told that as soon as those theatrical troops left, they did not see much people. Basically, lonely people coming to vote, and that's it. And those camera footage on the streets when they were doing propaganda materials. That's again, that was a theatrical performance, because we definitely know that the streets of Kherson region and Kherson itself were empty, and Kherson people listened and adhered to those recommendations to stay at home. And those ones who were captured on the streets, the so-called commission consisting of two collaborants and two occupants, armed ones. And those collaborants would say where the mark should be put on. Basically, the occupants put the muzzle of the weapon system into the face of the object, and under this force, they had to put this mark on the list. That's why it's exactly what we expected, and they got the results exactly what they wanted to. This fake referendum is, as a matter of fact, will not be recognized by any civilized world and civilized countries, and in general, it will not influence on the occupation of Kherson region that is going on. How do you think? How many people voted? Are we talking about hundreds, thousands, dozens of thousands? Well, let's say we have 1,080,000 of people in Kherson region. 70% of them have moved out of there. Let's put it this way: 400,000 people are left for the whole Kherson region. How many of them voted? How many of them voted? It is hard to say. It's not even the number is 400. It's 300,000 left there. But all in all, if we take the whole region, I would say that no more than 1,000 of people voted. We definitely know that 150 collaborants voted, who were recognized and who were allocated for this action, and had something to do with this fake referendum, and were part of those so-called commissions. And they are already detected, and the criminal cases are already launched against them. Also, we call some Gauleiters that we indicated that is approximately 150 people for all of the region. And of course, the families of those collaborants might be added to this. And of course, some people were catched on the streets and were, by means of force, made to vote. But all in all, it's not more than 1,000, and the top is 2,000 people who really voted. Of course, they say that there were simple examples of people coming, mostly people of older age, like grandmas, coming to the voting station and voting. But in reality, we can say that this was really a fake act of collaborants, and their environment. So what are the further risks for those Ukrainians who stay there on occupied regions? Well, it is hard to say about what Russia will do in the future. Many talks were about forced mobilization, and all this week, the male population from 18 to 35 were not allowed to leave the area, to leave the oblast. And this is the second day when they are allowed to go through. And through Vasilivka checkpoint, without any announcement for that, but they made it possible for male people from 18 to 35 to leave out from the Kherson region on their private transportation means. So all in all, I think that those mobilization plans are a little bit postponed. Those volunteering battalions that Gauleiter Saldo announced. Basically, yes, he announced that and already said that we have the list of those volunteering battalions and volunteers who agreed to fight for them, but nobody saw this list. And as a matter of fact, nobody saw these volunteering battalions. That's why that is thrown into a big question. Also, we have an information that Saldo, the Gauleiter in Kherson region, he went to Moscow, hoping to urge them to accept Kherson region as a part of Russia, as well as those Gauleiters did. We can see that the same information coming out from in other regions, occupied regions. But so I think that this is done in a quite centralized way. Yes, we will continue monitoring it. We see that Russian Parliament is postponing its work with the future electorate people for the and they would like to do the meeting of Verkhovna Rada of no not of their parliament, Russian parliament. I think on the 4th of the next month, the results of this referendum will be taken to their parliament to take a look at it and to do any actions about that. Yes, we will continue monitoring the occupants' actions regarding these fake actions on occupied territories. What is the situation in the city since UAF are holding in their control the bridges on the line of contact, declining the possibility of movement of heavy weapon systems and heavy vehicles? But we also think that the logistical portion of providing supplies there is also a little bit hard. What is the situation in the city? Well, we have information that the groceries and their prices have increased a little bit, yes, but all in all, the ferries, the lorry trucks are still coming to this region delivering groceries. So all in all, the logistical supplying of groceries to the civilians is happening. That is why, more or less, this situation is under control. When it comes, of course, to the civilian people and their and supplying food to them. But of course, yes, it means that the prices have increased a little bit. The situation regarding the medical sustainment is a little bit worse because from the first day of war, the occupants did not assure the supplying of medical supplies to those who need that. And this is done by means of volunteers through Vasilivka checkpoint, but the road to but the road to the final destination is extremely hard and long. So on the left bank of the river, on the right bank of the river, the situation is really hard when it comes to medical supplies. Russian troops basically are in a half encirclement around Kherson. In your opinion, what do you think about their future fate? And well, when will this fate become a reality? So I think since the beginning of counteroffense and taking under fire control all the bridges to the city, the forces of Russian forces has really declined their efficiency, and sooner or later I'll think that they will do that they will say that they are doing again the gesture of goodwill and will leave the Kherson region. But as we have already saw, and this information is proved by American Institute of War Studies that despite the fact of all the losses of occupants, despite the logistical routes that are hardened and hard to do right now, and supplying a weapon system, they still have the order of directly from Putin to hold the ground on the right bank of the river. That is why right now there are quite fierce fighting in that area. Occupants are trying to move their weapon systems in the place where it is needed. Our UAF is still doing the control and correction and adjustment of fire, but still the fierce fights are happening on the right bank of the river in Kherson region, and the enemy has reinforced its defensive positions. And since the process of the occupation is continuing, but it is going on not as fast as we saw in Kharkiv region, even though it is continuing to go on. Well, thank you so much. Here we had Serhii Khlan, advisor to the head of Kherson Oblast Military Administration, and at 13 o'clock we will talk to Vitaly Kamozin, the operations director of the United Jewish Community of Ukraine. We will talk about the conclusions of a celebration of Rosh Hashanah in Uman.